Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer. Served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is that time again. Good afternoon. It is a Monday and a hot one at that right now outside. This is hell on earth for Charlie Usen, my beautiful producer, who is wearing all black on like one of the hottest days of the year. I don't understand.
Well, it's fashion, first of all, Sparky.
Fashion.
Fashion.
Don't you have anything that like is not black that could be considered fashionable?
Probably, but also it is laundry day, probably today or tomorrow, tonight or tomorrow. So after I get off,
I can relate to.
I work at the brewery tonight, so I might have to throw in a load after the brewery or tomorrow morning. And this is what I had to work with. So.
Yeah, it is what it is. I know. I go through that damn near every day. It's always laundry day in our house. Got stacks of laundry all over the place. He is Charlie Usen, Steve Sparky Fifer with you as we broadcast live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM, The Fan Studio. Steve Sparky Fifer here, and lots to get you on today's show. Lots and lots of Brewers talk. There was a report out last night from Hector Gomez, who was with ESPN a long time and has ties to everybody across Major League Baseball, about a potential deal involving Eugenio Suarez. He thinks the Brewers are the team to beat right now in the race to get third baseman Eugenio Suarez. We'll tell you what that's all about. We'll have a poll question up that you can vote on whether or not you like the deal or not on Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Don't forget, also watch us live on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff at The Fan Milwaukee. Use that @ symbol. At The Fan Milwaukee. You can watch us streaming. You can chat with us through the YouTube chat as well. Shorts are posted every day, videos of the interviews and different stuff that we do. And, of course, you can also stream us, like always, on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. So we'll get to that coming up at 2:40. David Haw, our guy in Chicago we like to talk to anytime there's Cubs or Bears stuff going on, from Mully and Haw, the morning show on 670 The Score. We'll talk to him at 3:20. He was feeling pretty good last time we talked to David Haw, wasn't he, Charlie? He was feeling pretty good about those Cubs.
He was pretty confident. Yeah. He was calling Pete Crow Armstrong the MVP.
Yeah.
He was saying that the Brewers have a lot of work to do to catch up.
Remember, we had him on last time to ask him about Andrew Vaughn. Mm-hmm. Wonder what he thinks of Andrew Vaughn
Probably
now.
likes him a little better now, yeah.
Yeah. David Haw, 3:20. Looking forward to that. And our good old buddy Mike Clemens will join us. He's been up at every Packers practice from NFL Radio on Sirius XM. He'll join us coming up for our Green and Gold Update, brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. He joins us coming up at 4 o'clock live from Lambeau Field. So we're going to start talking about the Brewers. However, just before we came on, got an email from the Brewers with some transactions we'll get you updated on. Now, don't forget Tommy Wirt's 90-minute pregame show coming up today, 5 to 6:30, getting ready for Brewers and Cubs Game 1. The leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook tonight, 5 to 6:30. You'll hear Andrew Wagner, Forbes Brewers beat writer on that one. You'll also hear from our guy Austin Herdania from the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We'll hear from Pat Murphy from before the game. Lots of great stuff to catch up on with Tommy Wirtz from 5 to 6:30 this evening. Today and tomorrow, actually, 90-minute pregame shows. However, Craig Yoho. Remember Craig Yoho? We all love Craig Yoho. I was a big Craig Yoho fan. Coming out of spring, I was like, how is he not in the freaking bullpen? Like, seriously, dude's changeup's lethal. Like, come on, let's go. Well, Craig Yoho got torched a little bit early on in the year, and he got sent back down, and then he got called back up, and he's getting called back up again. Craig Yoho recalled from AAA Nashville for this series. Guess who gets sent down from the pitching staff?
Hopefully not Mizorowski, right?
No.
Can't be him.
No. It's Pat Murphy's favorite guy. Tobias Myers sent down to AAA Nashville. And Zestrazini returned from rehab assignment to AAA Nashville, remains on the IL there at that point. So Zestrazini to AAA, Myers to AAA, and Craig Yoho recalled from AAA Nashville. So Yoho will be in the pen for the Brewers this series against the Chicago Cubs. With all this talk about the Brewers potentially getting Eugenio Suarez, I felt the need to ask this question because we saw this yesterday in yesterday's game in the top of the 8th inning. We saw for the first time what I've been asking for some time. which is Pat Murphy put Bryce Terang at shortstop for the first time since 2023, and Caleb Durbin went to second base. So Durbin was at second, Terang was at short. That lasted only that half inning, and then he switched it up again in the ninth. But I wonder whether or not that little experiment was done in preparation possibly for an arrival of Suarez to this baseball team or another third baseman to this baseball team. If it's not Suarez, maybe it's somebody else. The question is simple. If keeping Durbin on the field after a trade is made means Terang going to shortstop and Durbin going to second, would you do it? Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Sound off with a recorded voice message on your Odyssey app as well. Chat with us on the YouTube live stream. There too, always a good time at The Fan Milwaukee. Use that @ symbol at The Fan Milwaukee. So, for me, this is pretty simple. I don't think this necessarily is rocket science at the end of the day. I think Bryce Terang is really, really good at second base, right? He won the Platinum Glove. And in fact, over the weekend on Saturday, I was on the Score with Steve Rosenblum. Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock. Some of you may have heard the spot when I was on with him. And I said Bryce Terang is the best second baseman in baseball, right? He's the guy, whatever. And immediately I get some Cubs fan tweeting at me, what are you talking about, man? He's not better than Nico Horner, man. I don't know what you're talking about. So then I had to explain to him what the Platinum Glove was, and that deemed him as the best player at second base in the National League. He responded with nothing after that explanation. It wasn't just making it up. It wasn't an opinion. It was fact-based, based on last season. He was the best second baseman in baseball. Like, it's not arguable. It's
Doesn't
fact.
mean Nico Horner is bad. It's just Bryce Terang is really good, man.
Exactly right. Nor did I ever say Nico Horner was bad on the radio show.
Right.
I just said, I was talking about Bryce Terang. Never even brought up Nico Horner. And Cub fans getting mad at me. So now, you have the situation of, do you take somebody that's really, really good at one position and move him to a position to find out that maybe he's not as good at that position as he was at another position? This isn't that hard for me. Bryce Terang played shortstop coming up through the minor leagues. Bryce Terang was supposed to be the shortstop for the Milwaukee Brewers for 10 years. That was going to be the deal. And then they lost Willie Adames. And then they decided to move Joey Ortiz there instead of Bryce Terang. And if you remember, when we were doing these shows at the end of spring training, they moved Terang to shortstop and put Ortiz at second. And Pat Murphy chuckled and said, to be honest, it looked really good. We didn't know how it would look, but it looked really good, those two in those positions, instead of how they had him. And then Terang had the shoulder thing pop up, and they abandoned ship because it was coming up on the season, and they went back to what they were going to do, which defensively has been great. But this is the thing. If you're going to make a run to a World Series, I heard Jim Bowden, former general manager in the big leagues, he was on MLB Network Radio. And he said, with the Brewers pitching that they have and the front of the Brewers pitching, he said you have three guys that you could say are all number ones in most rotations in baseball right now. Three of them. He said, forget about winning the division. He said, this team could win a World Series this year if they continue to play the way they're playing. That should be the target around Milwaukee, is potentially winning a World Series. So when you hear guys like him say things like that, what should be the next thought? We don't want any holes. If we can figure out a way to fill a hole, even if it's with duct tape, electrical tape, right? Slap it on there and survive in advance, and then next year we'll figure out what it's going to look like permanently. But to get to the finish line, to get the ring, survive in advance, that's the plan. And if that means Terang goes to short and Durbin goes to second to get two better offensive players on the field, maybe you sacrifice some defense at second base. I don't think you sacrifice much at shortstop, I'll be honest with you. I think Joey Ortiz probably has a stronger arm than Terang, but as far as range, I think Terang can get to everything Joey Ortiz can get to. He might throw it harder than Terang, right? Which may mean an additional out here or there for Joey Ortiz. I'll give you that. But he's going to get to everything. Now, Durbin at second, I don't know. That's the wild card. That's you all love him so much because he's playing so well. Fine. Let's get him into second base and let's have him play at second base. Defensively, I don't know what to expect. I know this. He played pretty good defense at third base. Does not have the arm for it, but played pretty good defense at third base, getting to everything that's hit to him. So I would assume he would be fine at second base as well if Suarez is at third. So would you do it? If the Brewers get a third baseman, would you move Terang to short and Durbin to second? That's what I'd like to know. Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. I have a plan B. If plan A isn't of your liking, but let's talk about plan A first. Charlie Usen, what say you?
Yeah, I think I'd do it. I don't really see the harm right now as we sit in moving a Bryce Terang to shortstop. I think earlier in the season, I felt a little weary of it because I felt like what Joey Ortiz was going to give you on the left side of the infield was going to be pretty good, probably Gold Glove level. And I felt that whoever you're going to be putting at third base was going to be good enough as well, just being surrounded by guys like Joey Ortiz and Bryce Terang. Well, Joey Ortiz has been good this season, but not as good as I've expected him to be. And Caleb Durbin's been good enough at third base too, but if you can be better on the left side of that infield defensively, you might as well try it out. And I think Caleb Durbin, out of him and Joey Ortiz, he's the one you'd probably want to give another chance to. I know Joey Ortiz was a guy who performed really well last season, way better than he was expected to perform. But at the same time, what we've seen this season is he's having those little spurts and then just is not sustainable for him. Caleb Durbin is at least providing in the clutch consistently, which is something that I just don't think we can expect from a Joey Ortiz.
And he changed his batting stance out of the All-Star break. I mean, it's not like he's not trying. He's trying.
He's giving it his best, but I think realistically we have to look at that trade for Corbin Burnes and say that he was the second piece in that. Yes. And because of that, you have to give the other second piece of a different blockbuster trade another opportunity too, because he has a little bit more time to develop and show you what he can be.
That's the other thing. That Durbin deal, that was involving Nestor Cortez. He could get dealt too. I mean, he might go somewhere to the AL to get back a couple of prospects that you may trade away. So you may trade 3 prospects, and you may get back 2 or 3 for Cortez at the same point. Now, it may not be as high quality as what you give away, but you'll still be able to replenish for some of what you lost at that point. So that's plan A, right? Of if you get a Suarez or if you get somebody to play third base, I don't think it's going to be Arenado, but if you get somebody to play third base, that's one plan. I think plan B in all of this to get through the regular season is a Suarez plays third 3 days a week, a Suarez DHs 3 days a week, and maybe Suarez plays first base 1 day a week, right? And you just sort it out that way. Or maybe he gets a day off a week. Maybe he plays 6 days and gets a day off, whatever. And that way, Durbin can still be on the field at least 3 times a week and in the lineup to keep himself fresh and going at that point in case you do need to use him off the bench at some point. And Suarez defensively is nothing to write home about. So you're definitely going to lose something, defensively by having Suarez out there at this point.
I think, though, switching a guy like Suarez between 3 different positions throughout the course of a week.
DH doesn't matter.
Well, it does when you have a team with Christian Yelich, who kind of needs to be at that DH spot a lot of the time. Well, he gets to play
left field those 3 days. That's what I'm saying. But we talked about this, you and I, about putting Yelich out there.
Who's more important to you on defense, a Caleb Durbin or Blake Perkins? Do you need to get Blake Perkins more run out there?
I don't give a damn
about Blake Perkins. Sal Frelick's coming back healthy
I know Blake Perkins just won that game, but realistically, your outfielders right now are Churio, Frelick, Yelich, those 3, and then Isaac Collins is the 4th if we're going to rotate a 4th guy in because of his bat. Now, if you're saying Blake Perkins is going to out-hit Isaac Collins, I'll listen. But for me right now, talking about getting to the postseason where they're going to need to score, the best bats play because you have enough defense to get by without 1 or 2 guys maybe not being Gold Glove worthy.
But then that also brings me back to then why do we need to move Suarez around if the defense isn't going to matter as much? If keeping guys healthy and making sure that your team is at the best possible strength, then you keep Christian Yelich at DH. No, you keep Suarez at one position.
No. Because it's about keeping Durbin fresh and ready to go. Listen, when you get to the postseason, then there may not be any more Caleb Durbin starting. Then it's going to be Suarez at third, Yelich at DH, and then whatever your outfielders are. Now Durbin's strictly a bench guy. But like I said, this is for regular season. To get you to the postseason, to keep Durbin's bat fresh and keep him going and not getting out of a rhythm, that's what you want to do. Same thing with Isaac Collins. It's going to be no different for him. He ain't going to get as many at-bats now because like you just said, Blake Perkins is going to take some at-bats away from that dude,
and
too.
Defensively, he's a gold glover. You have to put him out there.
And Isaac Collins isn't horrible.
No.
But he's a better defensive outfielder, Blake Perkins is. So he's going to play some, and Collins is going to lose some at-bats. Because Churio ain't taking Collins, isn't giving up at-bats to Collins, and nor is Frelick. So it's going to be Collins and Perkins rotating games here throughout the course of a weekend at-bats.
I think I just look at how Suarez is doing in Arizona right now since the All-Star break, and he's been a little bit shaky. He's been awful. He has not been great. And I think with this Brewers team, with the kind of fire that they've come out with from the All-Star break, that they've built this kind of momentum and they kind of have a groove going, you don't want to keep switching things up. I think we're starting to see the bullpen start to kind of falter a little bit. And that's partially because I think you're starting to switch things up in the way that the rotation, the bullpen is running and operating. So you're going to start seeing a little bit of a hitch in that as well. I don't know if you really want to throw a hitch into the lineup as well, a lineup that hasn't really done much throughout the season. You've been expecting a lot from a lot of these guys, and I think we've been pretty disappointed despite the team being good with how the offense has played. I don't know if you really want to mess around with things if it's going good right now.
All right, so here's one that Tommy Wirtz sent me. Bob Nightingale, Odyssey MLB Insider. The Detroit Tigers, one of the strong suitors for Diamondbacks All-Star third baseman Eugenio Suarez, would love to finalize a deal before Suarez leaves town Wednesday. D-backs are in Detroit for a 3-game series. Think about this for a second. Tigers are playing the D-backs. Tigers want him. Brewers are playing the Cubs. According to reports, both these teams want him as well. Dude, they are in an unbelievably great position for a rental player. It's not like whoever gets Suarez is guaranteed for Suarez to sign back there. He goes out to free agency. Odds are they're going to lose him. Whoever gets him is going to lose him, and that's how this whole thing is going to play out. Take a quick time out. Come back on the other side. We are going to go to Packers training camp. Get the latest from Packers training camp, what has happened here earlier today in the last couple of days. And don't forget, David Haw, Mully and Haw on 670, the Score, the morning show there. He'll join us coming up at 3:20. We'll get the Chicago side of things. We'll see if he's still as happy as he was the last time we talked to him about that Cubs team, as now the Brewers and Cubs tied for first. The Miz on the mound tonight, 5 to 6:30. A 90-minute special pregame show coming up tonight. With Tommy Wirtz, leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Time now for your fan weather forecast. 93 degrees outside right now. A real feel of 98. Goodness. Low tonight of 69. Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Sparky, Fifer with you. Here's a sign to never skip breakfast again. Wendy's breakfast biscuits are just $1, y'all. $1. 4 quarters, 10 dimes. They're okay. They'll take change, right? No big deal. Your choice of a buttermilk biscuit with grilled sausage or bacon with egg and melty cheese, or even the honey buddy with juicy chicken and maple honey butter. For just $1, you can't go wrong unless you forget to add the delicious seasoned potatoes, or the warm, fluffy French toast sticks, or even the ooey gooey cinnamon. Come on, start your day the right way with Buck Biscuits at Wendy's, and don't look back. Limited time only. You know, the one thing that I have truly noticed, and I'm not saying Wendy's was the first one to do this necessarily, but I am definitely noticing that there are more and more places that are carrying other people's stuff in their places, whether it be restaurants, putting other restaurant stuff on their menus and cross-promoting that way, or fast food restaurants or whatever. I'm definitely noticing that more and more than I've ever seen before, and I always go back to an idea, and I think it was Ronnie Taylor, who used to be on Kiss FM's morning show, West Ronnie and Allie, that had the idea. I think it was him who had the idea, where somebody should pay a lot of money, rights fees wise, to the big fast food chains and have a restaurant that serves the best thing from every fast food chain in their restaurant. So you come in and you can pick, you know, this person would have to deem whatever they would want from each restaurant. You could come in and mix and match everything together, and then, you know, they would pay each fast food restaurant a certain amount of money in order to do that. I think that would be wildly popular.
Probably. It would also probably be wildly hard to get all the rights and all the people to all these restaurants.
It'd be very expensive.
Yeah,
very expensive.
You'd be paying like $20 for a McDonald's cheeseburger.
Yeah, whatever. Man. I mean, I want a Baconator, right? A Frosty, and then something else. You mix it all together.
I think Wendy's would be able to find a deal for you, though. They'd be able to figure out how to keep the prices down. Yeah.
Yes, it is the way to go for sure. I'm not going to get into what you just said. My kid is so done with that. He's like, no, anything but that. He is beyond done. And that he used to be like all about that, and now it's like, no, we're not going there. I don't want that. That is not good. I'd rather let's go to Wendy's and get me a double stack or whatever the case may be. Burgers are so much better than those. Okay, so let's talk about Packers training camp. So, news from earlier today. It looks like Elton Jenkins back at practice, ready to rock and roll, do his thing. Which is obviously a good thing. It makes it look like his back is feeling better, so that's good.
Got a clip from Matt Steinman of him if you want to hear that real quick.
Let's hear it.
No. Right now I'm just focused on the season going forward, just being able to perform for the team, and just getting our line right, offense right, and so we can be better this year than we were last year.
Have they given you any assurances that they will take care of you at some point financially?
Right now, I'm not even thinking about that. It's more so just, you know, what I can do to help the team, and just being present. You know what I'm saying? Getting good with the offensive line, building chemistry with the quarterbacks and the offensive line.
But you were thinking about that at one time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that part of why you're staying away?
Nah, honestly, I'm having changes in my family right now, so I want to spend more time with them. And so happened that came up, and so it was just like, you know, it was better for me to spend time with my family.
I'm so confused. I thought the reason he wasn't there was because of his back. Isn't that what they said?
That is what they said.
And now he says it's because there's family issues?
But like we've said before, the back is the easiest way to just put somebody on an injury report at some point.
You're right.
If you don't know what's happening as an organization, or the player doesn't really want to give more information, he just says he has an injured back. The team will just say he has an injured back, and that's what you deal with.
Yeah, because you can't, again, as we've said before, you can't see a back spasm in a test. Like, there's no way to justify it. A guy can take himself right out of a weekend game if he wants to by just saying he has back spasms. Just can't figure it out. And then they can do all the massage work and everything else. Then he goes to sleep and he wakes up in the morning. Oh, got another back spasm. Sorry, can't do it anymore.
Or all good if he's happy, yeah.
Or he's all good and figure it out. So we'll see what happens there with Elton Jenkins at Packers training camp. You know, the other part about this is yesterday, I believe it was, Jordan Love throws his first pick, first interception. Now, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of analyzing interceptions, because in this case, he just didn't see the linebacker and threw it right between the numbers. However, Aaron Rodgers, on his first pass of training camp, if memory serves correct, he threw a pick in Pittsburgh. Caleb Williams has been throwing picks on a regular basis in the Chicago training camp right now, and people are just having a field day with Caleb Williams struggling the way he is. Even that knucklehead Dove Kleinman was on there. 2 interceptions out of 5 possessions or whatever it was the other day, and kind of going at Caleb Williams. I kind of feel bad for the dude. Like, he didn't do anything to get all this added scrutiny one way or the other. But because you do have Ben Johnson as your coach, there's going to come some added pressure. That's the nice thing here with Love and Matt LaFleur. Everybody kind of knows what to expect here, so there's not a lot of over-analyzing like there was, say, Jordan Love's first year in training camp, where he was getting the Caleb Williams treatment. Every time he made a good throw, it was on SportsCenter. Every time he made a bad decision, it was on SportsCenter. Like, they were analyzing these practices like he was in a regular season game, and I was losing my mind going, what are we doing? Like, he doesn't deserve any of this. He's like just getting his feet wet for the first time. But because Rodgers left, it was a whole big story of whether or not Jordan Love was right, or was the Packers going to finally crash out and not be good anymore. The Caleb Williams thing, I think, is because of Ben Johnson. I mean, if Ben Johnson isn't the new head coach and they stay status quo with that coaching staff, is there still as much attention paid to Caleb Williams? I don't know.
Probably not. I think people probably then give the Bears defense a little bit more credit, which is a pretty good defensive unit that was just hindered by their offense being so historically bad last season that they couldn't really show how good they could be. And then, like you said, Ben Johnson being there, he's supposed to be this offensive guru. This is supposed to be the moment that Caleb Williams is supposed to take off, and it's just not happening. It's also probably a really complicated playbook, like we saw in Detroit that he installed, that they're trying to install right now with an extremely young offense. I mean, this is all, like you said, kind of getting blown out of proportion.
Way out of proportion.
And I think that it should not really matter as much to people as they put it out there to matter. Again, with the Jordan Love thing too a couple of years ago, that seemed blown out of proportion as well. Let these players start to develop. That's what this part of the season is for.
No doubt about it. Today, Dontavian Wicks apparently leaves practice with an injury. Not sure what the injury is, but apparently that is something to keep an eye on as well. Can we also talk about Andy Herman? Does anybody else keep track of third stringers the way Andy Herman keeps track of third stringers? I mean, Gurzma, I know he likes him. And I told you from what I've seen of watching, old games of his or whatever else, he looks pretty good coming from Canada or whatever. But again, Andy Herman, Gurzma was arguably his best throw of camp, rolling to his left and firing to hit Cornelius Johnson downfield in stride. You want to know what the crazy part about that is? That tweet got 84 likes. 84 likes talking about the third string wide receiver, third string quarterback and, fourth, fifth, sixth string, more like sixth, seventh, or eighth string wide receiver at this point. Packer fans, y'all are an amazing fan base to care that deeply about third string and fourth and fifth string guys that aren't going to make this team.
Well, I am one of those likes, and I liked it mostly because I thought it was hilarious that he's even reporting on it. I think it's just so funny. Like, that's just a funny tweet to hear about Tyler Elgersma throwing a dot to Cornelius Johnson. Like, who cares that much? But it's so good.
Yes. The other name that I'm sure you guys have read about is Nazir Stackhouse. And this dude. Now, this is another Georgia dude. Not that we should be surprised. Goody loves his Georgia guys. They signed him as an undrafted free agent. And apparently, what is it, narcolepsy, where he just falls asleep, right? And apparently, there wasn't a day that went by in the last 3-4 years at Georgia that he didn't fall asleep in a meeting, at halftime, on the sidelines, between defensive positions, just start sleeping. And the medicine they were giving him at Georgia apparently was giving him headaches. So he's like, I'm not doing this. Screw it. As long as I'm up and moving, I'm not going to fall asleep. I'll be fine. So he gets him through the games, whatever. Now the Packers have something for him to take. And apparently he hasn't fallen asleep at all. Apparently it's working just great. Now, the reason why the dude went undrafted wasn't because of that. The reason the dude went undrafted was because he didn't bring in a ton of pass rush. But as was pointed out by everybody, which is they lost Slayton to the Bengals. That was your big run-stuffing defensive lineman. Slayton was like, 340 last year? Something crazy like that. So Stackhouse was that run defender at Georgia. That's what he did. He wasn't going after the quarterback. He was just stuffing the line of scrimmage. So there was a lot of talk coming into this practice today, which was the first practice where you had helmets and pads and the whole deal on that first practice of hitting. I'm going to go back to my college football player, Charlie Usen, over there. How big of a deal is it that first day where you start smacking each other?
It's usually like the most aggressive and violent day because you've had about 2 weeks of practice leading up to that point in some kind of fashion of just constantly walking through these plays. And one of the main reasons a lot of people want to play football is because you just get to go out there and hit dudes. Right. It doesn't matter if it's your friends. It doesn't matter if it's your enemy. You just go out there and just kind of unleash and just be yourself for a little bit. So that first day is usually a lot of fights. There's at least usually 1 or 2 of them between teammates, and then usually at least 2 to 3 kind of major injuries, if we're being honest. So what we're seeing from the news today about all these guys coming out is pretty standard across the NFL and across football in general. I wouldn't be too worried about some of these injury reports, some of the fights that are happening, again, some of the people messing things up, because it's all just a lot of adrenaline happening on that first day of Pats.
Yes, and see, that's the thing, too. And what's that feeling like the next day when you wake up after that first day in Pats?
That's probably the most sore you will ever feel, correct, besides the first day back, like, full lifting. That day, you cannot walk afterwards. It's awful. So bad. Like, you just want to lay in bed for the rest of the day, but then you have to go do 2 practices and another lifting session. It's awful.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Some of the other things from today, again, Hobbs looking good. Right? Another, at least one interception that I saw on Andy Herman's timeline. Hobbs got in a little bit of trouble with Matt LaFleur for something that should not have been a real physical practice of hitting a wide receiver a little bit too hard and got a talking to in that situation. Because these are shells. We're not trying to hurt anybody or knock anybody out. And he got a little too physical. Can I just say, much needed for this defense. Much needed. Like, we need a couple dudes that are going to be a little over-the-top aggressive physically to lay the wood on somebody on this defense. And if Nate Hobbs is going to be one of those cats with Edgerrin Cooper, because that's another dude that loves to lay the wood down. If that's going to be the case, then so be it. Let's go. Evan Williams is another guy. He likes to go hunting people too. That would be good. Some type of intimidation factor here would be a good thing.
And it's good to have that on the first day, get it out of your system a little bit, because if you continue to practice like that, though, that really kind of takes away from what you're trying to do at practice a lot of the times. You're, again, injuring players for an extended period of time. When you do something like that, you put yourself at risk for injury. Nobody's really going full speed at any practice, if we're being honest. Usually you catch the ball, you get touched, you get hit, that's it. You're done. That's the play. That's over with. And then when it comes to game time, if you're flying around like that and you're playing against other players going full speed and they are agile, they can move around, they're shifty, they're going to avoid you coming full speed with your head down, not like a practice player who's running at half speed.
Okay, now let me tell you what else happened today involving Mr. Hobbs. Hobbs went low on Marshawn Lloyd and hurt Marshawn Lloyd, and Marshawn Lloyd was pretty much done at that point. We're going to talk with Mike Clemens more about this coming up in our Green and Gold Update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook coming up at 4 o'clock. And Andy Herman says Hobbs definitely went low and brought Lloyd down. Hobbs has not been back in since. He's along the sidelines with his helmet still. We'll see if he gets in again. Love has a conversation with him a few plays later to the side. Now, Hobbs got sat. He eventually came back and got a pick, going for a ball with Matthew Golden, like I said earlier. That went through Golden's hands, and Hobbs ended up with it. However, Marshawn Lloyd, not the guy. He did not come back in. And there's a picture that Andy Herman tweets later after the injury with Marshawn Lloyd on the ground without a helmet on one knee, Josh Jacobs with his arm wrapped around him, talking to him. Because if he is hurt again, he's got to be devastated. I mean, this is the same thing he went through last year. He couldn't stay healthy.
Right. This is really just not the start to the career you want. I think you look at a guy like J.K. Dobbins right now, who had a phenomenal season last year for Los Angeles and still can't really find a spot on another team because he wasn't able to stay healthy those first few seasons in the league.
Yeah, no question. And, people on Twitter, oh, cut Hobbs, get rid of Hobbs. No.
That was your second biggest free agent signing.
Stop! No,
the third biggest move of the offseason.
I know he hurt one of our guys. I get it. Fine. It is what it is. But let's just see what this looks like in the regular season, man. If he can bring some type of intimidation factor out there, I'm fine with it. Like, just let him play, figure it out later, and see what happens at the end of the day.
He's in a new system trying to impress, trying to show that he can be a number one corner in a group that doesn't have a number one corner. Again, he'll figure it out. This is just him getting it out of his system. It'll be okay.
Correct. Exactly right. Getting it out of his system. All right, take a quick time out. Come back on the other side. We're going to talk more about the Milwaukee Brewers. Again, there is a report out by Hector Gomez, who was with ESPN for a long time, about him believing last night that the Brewers are the top suitor right now for Eugenio Suarez. He's got 3 prospect names in there. You will definitely know one of them. The other 2 may not be as familiar with, but we can fill you in on that perspective. We're going to have a poll question up, and we want to know whether or not it's worth it, or whether or not you think it may be highway robbery just for a rental in Eugenio Suarez. That's the poll question up right now at The Fan Milwaukee, Facebook, and Twitter. Again, it's 3 prospects, essentially, for Eugenio Suarez. We'll tell you all about who those 3 players are coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Don't forget, the leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook with Tommy Wirtz, starts tonight at 5 o'clock, a special 90-minute edition. Welcome in. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Other side of the glass is our guy Charlie Usen. David Hall, Mullion Hall, and 670 The Score, the morning show hosts over there. He'll join us coming up at 3:20. Mike Clemens, latest from Packers training camp. More details from him as he was there, saw everything that we were just talking about. Green and Gold update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. That comes up at 4 o'clock. Looking forward to that. We'll hear from Matt LaFleur a little bit coming up here at the top of the 3 o'clock hour. We turn our attention now back to the Milwaukee Brewers and a story that came out last night from Hector Gomez. He said on Twitter, at HGomez27, the Brewers emerge now as a top suitor for Diamondbacks third baseman all-star Eugenio Suarez. Prospects like right-handed pitcher Logan Henderson, right-handed pitcher Brett Rakowski, and second baseman Josh Adamczewski are involved in the proposal proposal trade. Mariners, Cubs, and Phillies still show a lot of interest in him. Bob Nightingale, our Odyssey MLB insider, said the Tigers want to get a deal done before they're done with their series that I believe starts tonight against the D-backs. So that is another team to consider. Now, do remember something else, which is this is a bidding war. That is exactly what this is. So you're going to have to trust, I guess you could say, trust the Arizona Diamondbacks when you are putting your numbers in against whatever it is that is being told to you, that they're being honest and that they're not lying to you, right? I mean, think about it. I'm sure there's not a lot of people that can relate to this necessarily, but if you are in a position where you get a contract for your job and you have to negotiate that contract, every 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever, and if there is a rival company that's trying to get your services and get you under contract, you can tell your company, hey, man, they're offering me, A, B, and C, whatever else. And maybe they're really not offering you as much as you're saying, but then that company that you're with currently then has to decide whether or not they believe you or not, and then give you the money. So that's the problem with, making trades is you have to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, this is where I'm willing to go to, and I'm not going to go any farther than that, regardless of, what all might still be out there. So let's talk about the three prospects involved. The question is it worth it? Right? Or is it highway robbery? That's the poll question right now. That's what we want to know from you. Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Sound off with a recorded voice message on the Odyssey app, or check us out on YouTube. Live streaming right there, right now. Come check us out. All you have to do is put in at The Fan Milwaukee. Use that at symbol, at The Fan Milwaukee. Like, subscribe, and we are building that fan base. We are building that fan base on YouTube. Make sure you're aboard, one of the first to jump on, and tell your friends. Share it as well. Charlie says you can share it to others.
Can indeed.
So what does that do then?
There's a little arrow by...
It says share.
Yeah.
And then share. What do you... I can share it to my Twitter account or my Instagram.
Post the link wherever you want to post it. Right. Send it to your friends. I don't know. Go to your local brewery and sneak into the back. Sign into the website thing where all their TVs. Put us up on the TV. Whatever you want to do.
So you do that?
I could do that.
That's awfully nice of you, Charlie.
I could do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. There may have to be more incentives involved with me sneaking our shows into the brewery.
Meaning, pay me more money. Okay, let's talk about a couple of guys that are here. So one of them is Josh Adamczewski, and if you watch spring training games, I know a lot of you could care less about spring training. This dude can hit, man. We watch him in spring training, and me and Charlie are both like, who the heck is this guy? They drafted this cat in the 15th round in the 23 draft out of high school from St. John, Indiana, Lake Central High School. This year, age 20 year, right? Started off in rookie ball where he had 333, 432 on base percentage, and a 500 slugging. Then they moved him up to Class A, where he's had 32 games, 146 plate appearances, 118 at bats, 3 homers, 28 RBIs. He's hitting 356 at Carolina. The Mudcats, they're absolutely loaded. .448 on base percentage, .542 slugging for Adam Shevsky at this point. Again, that is a second baseman for the Milwaukee Brewers. Then there's Brett. I say Witrowski, but I think it's Witrowski.
I think it's Witrowski.
Witrowski,
yeah.
right? Yeah, okay. So here's Brett Witrowski. Again, another guy that we saw in spring a little bit. And Witrowski was a guy that we were talking about last year, if you were following along during Brewers season. We were doing our prospect list and stuff because we talk probably more minor league baseball on this station than anybody else does in town. So Witrowski this year, after being with the Timber Rattlers last year, a lot of you may have seen him last year, this year at Double A 2.69 ERA so far in 14 starts on the year, which is pretty good. 47 strikeouts to 22 walks. It's not a huge strikeout guy necessarily. A whip of 1.34. That's not really good either at this point. But it is a guy that they've been high on for some time. He's only 22, but walks per 9, 3.3 walks per 9, strikeouts per 9, 7 strikeouts per 9. So, again, yes, we've been high on him. Would it be end of the world if they got rid of him? Probably not. The guy that I'm assuming most of you are going to be mad about that you don't want to get rid of is Logan Henderson. And rightfully so, right? I mean, if I had my druthers, I'd rather have Chad Patrick in the deal than Logan Henderson. You take these two cats, you can have Chad Patrick, and because look at what you have, Woodruff is gone after this year. Peralta's gone either this winter or after the following year. Logan Henderson essentially kind of slots in as your number 2 starter. And then Robert Gasser probably gets into that conversation if he comes back and pitch as well. So you'd like to keep Logan Henderson and get rid of Chad Patrick instead. Having said that, we know Logan Henderson was amazing up for the Brewers. 1.71 ERA in 4 starts, 29 strikeouts to 6 walks. Very good. His whip, walks plus hits divided by innings pitched, .952 at the major league level. Very good. In Nashville this year, 10-4, but his ERA 3.59 ERA in Nashville this year. Last year in Nashville, his ERA was 4.56. So this year, better than it was last year. Strikeouts to walks, 87-24. So again, a lot of strikeouts. 10 strikeouts per 9, walks 2.8 per 9, 1.107 walks plus hits divided by innings pitched. If I'm the Brewers, I'm trying to get this deal done without putting Logan Henderson in it, and I'm trying to find somebody else to put in his place if I'm the Brewers.
I just don't think there's anybody else you can put in his place without giving up a prospect that's better than him.
Yes, right. You're right. Yes.
If I'm looking at this trade proposal, I think Logan Henderson has to be in this trade for it to work. I think that's the only way any team is going to make a big trade with the Milwaukee Brewers is if they have Logan Henderson, who is the bottom of their top prospects, to be in that trade.
He's going to be a stud, too.
I don't think you can put a Chad Patrick in because a guy like Chad Patrick, before he gets to the Milwaukee Brewers, is a little bit more shaky. I think a lot of people look at a player like him and say he's an example, a product of what this Milwaukee Brewers team does time and time again. And you look at some of these other players that go and leave the Milwaukee Brewers afterwards, and they just do not perform to the same capabilities as they did with the Milwaukee Brewers. A guy like Logan Henderson, you can just look at the stuff that he has and says, you know what, that's going to happen no matter where he is. Chad Patrick, I don't think teams have that same kind of confidence.
Yeah, I don't think I disagree with you necessarily on that. I think that makes a lot of sense as well. But you know, man, I don't know how you are. My 9-year-old will not let me get rid of anything. Like, to the point if he has a hole in his sock, he won't let me throw it out. No. I'm like, why? Memories. Oh, my God. Stop.
I do it because I don't want to buy more socks. The socks are expensive.
Yes, well, you do it for a different reason. But I'm just saying, like, come on, man. Like, you got to let me throw this away. No. In fact, we had one of his socks with a hole in it. She put it in the bathroom garbage. Right? So there's no door on it or nothing. It's right next to it. That little dude went there in the middle of the night, got it, and then I don't know where he put it. We can't find it. I have no idea where he put it. None whatsoever. So you get possessive. Like Tommy Wirtz, I guarantee you, is possessive of these prospects.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're family members because he talks about them every day on the leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. If they're going to trade somebody, he may physically cry, depending on who it very well may be at the end of the day. All right, poll question is this. Would you do the deal? Right? So Brett Witrowski, Logan Henderson, and then Josh Adamshevsky. are the three guys that we're talking about here dealing, according to Hector Gomez, essentially for Eugenio Suarez, according to the report last night. Worth it, it's going to sting, or fair, but it's highway robbery. All right? Those are the poll questions, correct? Those are the answers?
It's a little different.
What do you have? I'm just reading what you put on the sheet.
Because that's what he had in his exact question. I want to make it a little bit of our own, too.
Okay, what do
Hell
you got?
yes is the top option.
Okay.
Second option is would hurt, but worth it. Third option is highway robbery by Arizona.
All right, fair enough.
Pretty similar.
So those are the three options. Vote now on Twitter at @TheFanMilwaukee, @TheFanMilwaukee. Let's go to Trell, North Side. You're first up here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Trell, do you do the deal or not?
Hey, what's going on, Sparky?
What's up?
I'm trying not to be emotional and irrational in my thoughts right here. All in all, I think I would do the deal, but this is my thing. I've kind of had it with Antiacio a little bit, so I'm at a boiling point with him where something has to happen for this team. Because I was seeing a report from I can't even remember the baseball guy name, man. He's wearing the top ones. It's been around for a long time. He was saying that the Brewers now look like they're going to make a move at all.
Who? Jeff Passan, John Heyman, Bob Nightingale? Who?
Rosenthal.
Rosenthal?
Yeah. Ken Rosenthal. That's who it was. He was on some podcast or something saying that from what he's hearing, he doesn't like the Brewers are going to make any moves.
My guess would be fair territory. Charlie, you'll see if he can find it for you, and we'll talk about it. That's good. All right, thanks for the information.
I would say that if I'm Matt Arnold, if I got to give up to soften the blow, I would see if I could get a 2 or 3 year extension with Suarez. Don't know if that's going to be possible, but I would see. Or if I'm going to have to pay a heavy price, I would look for somebody who's not, quote unquote, on the trade market, but who I can just give up, a load of prospects, because you're going to give up something anyway, a load of prospects and put a big bat in the middle of that lineup. I don't know if it has to be a third baseman. I mean, if you can find a third baseman that can do that, fine. But I don't care if it's a corner outfielder or whatever. Find a bat that no one's talking about right now that you just knock somebody's socks off and you get that guy to add into the team that you have right now. If I'm Matt Arnold, that's what I'll be looking for. Because if you're going to give up a load of prospects for a guy for 2 or 3 months for the most part, I mean, that's a heavy blow, man. To me, even though we didn't win a World Series, it worked with CC Sabathia. Just the enthusiasm,
yes,
and everything that came with it. I think it was worth it to do that.
Absolutely. Same with Zach Greinke. They went all in on Zach Greinke too, and that worked. Yeah. They went all in on Yelich. That worked.
Yeah. So I think I would be trying to see if I can get an extension with Suarez because I think that softens the blow. And let's just be honest, the Brewers have a hell of a farm system right now. It's not back in the days where you're trying to hold on. You don't want to. I think they built that thing back up to a nice point where they can get rid of some guys and they still got something to hang their hats on. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm more worried that Antiacio is not gonna make a move because it's gonna add money to the salary. And I'm tired of him saying, we're losing money and all that, and we got reports out that show that he's actually been making money in the clear.
Well, this is the thing, though. I mean, Suarez is 34. So now you're talking about giving him an extension at age 35, 36. I don't think I'm in the ballpark of wanting to give him an extension. Thanks for the call, Terrell. I'm not there. If he was like 24, 25, okay, fine, if there was something there. But if you look at Suarez's numbers this year, let's just start there. 247, 319 on base. Neither one of those are great. However, slugging percentage of .579, 36 homers, 87 RBIs, lead all of baseball in RBIs at this point. So that obviously is a good thing. Now, the other thing that needs to be talked about with Eugenio Suarez is what he's been doing as of late, since that All-Star break, and what really has all been going on with him then, because he has not been well. Let's see. Go back to last Tuesday, July 22nd, 0 for 4. Then against Houston, July 23rd, 0 for 3. Against the Pirates on Friday, 0 for 4. Then against the Pirates on the 26th, got a hit finally, 1 for 4. And against the Pirates yesterday, 0 for 3 again. In those games, he has 10 strikeouts in those games. Those 6 games, he has No, 5 games. In those 5 games, he has 10 strikeouts and 1 hit in those 5 games. So he is in a funk. But that is who this dude is. He is as streaky as can possibly be, and that also is something to consider. You could make a move, and he could go ice cold in the playoffs, or you could make the move, and he carries you to a World Series.
But that's also the risk. A lot of teams that are in Milwaukee's position where you don't have a lot of that long-term money to spread around, where your options are moving guys in that farm system, those are the risks that they've made and have worked out for them. That's how Atlanta won their World Series. And I'm going to keep going back to that team. By making those 2 trades for Jock Peterson and Jorge Soler, who are exactly the same type of player that you're looking at in a Eugenio Suarez, they win and won a World Series behind those 2 guys being 2 of the most important players in that series. I mean, the Brewers can do the same thing by making a move for Suarez and then letting him go. If they can win a World Series by trading for Suarez, I know a lot of people don't want to move Henderson, but a World Series is worth more than 3 prospects. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. No question. But that's what you have to do. You have to make the decision of how far you really want to push this forward if you are the Milwaukee Brewers. Like, do you want to push in or do you not want to push in? Here's some more stuff on Eugenio Suarez from a few days ago in The Athletic. Eugenio Suarez rates as one of the worst defensive third basemen in the majors, according to the defensive run save metric and the outs above average metric. Makes sense. That's not good, but here's something else that's more concerning. He conceded the risk reward of Suarez's 26.4% strikeout rate, which entering this last Friday was the 29th highest in the sport. Suarez also isn't great against velocity. He has a 219 average and 4 homers and 73 at-bats against pitches 95 miles an hour or above.
Yeah, that's not exactly a great look either. Especially if you're going to probably play Paul Skeens a couple more times.
Well, not to mention every closer in the league's throwing around 100.
Right.
I mean, so that's something else to consider at this point of if he can't catch up with a fastball, what then does that mean kind of going forward? But he is simply the best power bat on the market, regardless of all of that. Trav and Brown Deer, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's with me, Steve Sparky Fifer here on The Fan. What's up, Trav?
How's it going, guys? Hey, just hey, I know you wanted a third baseman. Hey, let's keep it. Let's just keep it here, right? Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
I think. Why? I think it's like Arizona, right? Yeah. These are young guys, man. They're waiting for their contracts. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Goodbye. That was a horrible call. Trav, I expect better. If you are going to call into the show, dude, you've got to be better than that. That was brutal.
He was confident when he answered. I picked
that
up. He
was
goes,
awful.
You know what? I want the Brewers to stand pat. I think they should do that. I think that's probably the move they go with. I've changed my mind a little bit. He did not sound as confident when he came on there.
I said, why? And nothing. Just blah, 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 blah. Come on, dog. You got to bring more than that. You got to bring more than that if we're going to do this. Coming up next, we'll change gears. We'll go with the Green Bay Packers. Matt LaFleur talking earlier today, and we'll hear what he has to say coming up next here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Don't forget, David Haw of Molly and Haw on 670 The Score joins us at 3:20. We'll get the Cubs side of things then.